Hey everybody, Chelsea here. How's it going? I'm going to be bringing on Leah Chelsea very soon. We are going to be talking today about giving yourself permission today on Girl Talk to just be enough in this moment and all of the wonderful, beautiful side effects that come along with that. If you happen to catch the post that I shared not too long ago, I think one of the most important and one of the most beautiful ones is just you all of a sudden look and feel younger because you're letting go, you're dropping all sorts of heaviness that we can tend to carry around. I see you there, Leah. I'm going to see if I can add you. Hi, Nicole. Sorry, I'm just waiting for Leah to come on for our call today.
Hey,
There you
Chelsea.
are. I love when that happens smoothly. That's so great.
I know, right? It's like
Mhm.
it just happens and
Yeah,
it's
we're
lovely.
good. We're on. All right. So,
Awesome.
I was just
I'm actually going to share this
oh yeah,
on my page before we start.
yeah. Okay.
And you are looking exceptionally glowing today.
Thank you. Thank you. You are too.
Thank you.
We had a
All
good
right. What?
we had a good weekend.
We did. We did. Okay, let me just share this because this is a very important topic.
It is.
I actually came across some feeds today, like some posts on my feed today, with have you seen that the I love this woman?
Mm.
No, it's a I love this woman post with like a picture of the actual person, the actual woman, and it talks about, like how she's sorry that she sabotaged herself and all these things. And I just thought, wow, what an interesting topic for today where, we are enough in all that we do.
So,
Yeah.
like, would the person be talking about themselves? Like,
Hmm.
I would put a
Yeah.
picture of myself and I would say, I love this woman and all of the things, all the reasons why.
Yeah, like
That,
I'm sorry I didn't stand up for her or that other people didn't stand up for her, that, there's like sabotage and things that happened and, lots of hurt and pain and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
And that I'm always going to be there for her. And I thought that was so lovely. And at the same time, I thought, like as women, we are very, very hard on ourselves and thinking like it's just never enough. Everything we do is
Mm-hmm.
never enough. So this topic is very timely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like how it evolved. We've been kind of having a bit of a discussion, just sort of,
Yeah.
as we always do, just chatting on, behind the scenes before we come on and do our call. And really
Hmm.
just talking about being in the moment and also just being, being right here in the moment. But I think the most important thing that, got added onto this conversation is about being enough. Because
Yeah.
and I mean, we could take this conversation so many different directions. And I just, as we're talking, thank you to everyone that's watching. Would love to hear your
Hey,
comments
everyone.
or anything, that you've experienced, especially as women as well, in this whole arena of being enough. Because I think that we are taught from an early age that we're not, kind of not necessarily directly, but there's so much messaging about that, and that can come through, and affect us, in terms of body image. It can come through and affect us in terms of
Huh.
our personalities. There's so many different ways that being enough shows up. And so, as we go, we'll be sharing our own stories. We'd love to hear your stories as well for anyone that's watching now or later. And just that, I think that surrender that happens when you finally just let yourself be enough, in any moment, no matter where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. There's something so liberating about that. And, we talked about how, that can take 10 years, off how old you look, right? Just by just that relaxing into, that moment and just being okay. And you're finally not waiting until, you've dropped 10 pounds or you've gotten your
Yeah.
teeth fixed or, you've gotten more confident. You're just being, who you are in the moment and being completely 100% accepting of who you are. And there's something so liberating and just relaxing about that. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to mention that we're going to be talking about a mastermind or yeah, basically a master class that we're going to be giving in December for those of you that feel like, during the holidays you're not enough, never enough too. So we'll be talking about that at the very end,
yeah,
how
it'll be
we
a
are
holiday
organizing
themed
that.
version of this
Hmm.
conversation. Yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely a timely topic. But I think, for today, just and yeah, like Leah said, we'll announce it at the end, kind of when this is taking place and how you can find out more about it. Um, I guess to start for today, Leah, do you have like an experience where this conversation about being enough really came to light for you? Maybe a time in your life where you really,
Yeah.
surrendered into that, or had, kind of one of those moments where you just kind of got it.
Yeah, I think we all have stories where we can just say like, oh yeah, I can relate to that. That actually
Mm-hmm.
happened to me. And again, it's like a turning point, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
we surrender into our being enoughness. And I'm trying to think of one, but one that really, like, as you were saying it, this particular one came up, and I think it was at the very beginning of me feeling like, okay, I surrender. Please show me the way because, like, what I'm doing right now is not working.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, obviously, I'm trying to chase something that is not even available. It's like a black hole, like running into a black hole where especially when it comes to body image.
Mm-hmm.
And when you or when a woman or even a man has like body image issues, it like just can go so much out of control that it becomes, an obsession and then an addiction and uh, just, a disorder really. And so I remember when I was, and I think I tell this story sometimes, but it feels like a lot of my past that made me who I am today. Um, I remember being on the bus. I used to take it was in university, and I remember being on the bus. This is like so vivid in my imagination. I took the city bus to university.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was around 19 years old. And before I left my house, like I seriously had a problem with food, like and body image, and thinking I was really fat. Like one of those images of like a big lion that thinks they're really small or something like that. I actually really thought I was big, like or big boned or whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I thought I weighed 200 pounds, and in fact, I weighed like probably like 120 at the time. But um,
Mm-hmm.
I remember being on the bus. I had an apple in my hand, like a green apple, and it was summertime, like around June, so it was near the end of school. And I remember I used to always wear these like really dark black like cloak kind of thing so I could cover up and stuff. And then all of a sudden I thought I turned around and I almost put the apple in my mouth, and I thought, why is everybody on this bus talking about me? It was crazy. I just thought everybody was whispering about me. And in that moment, I realized I had a serious problem. Like, I could never exercise enough. I was on the swim team. Like, I could never exercise enough. I could never eat well enough. I could never be good enough. And that day, I just skipped class. I threw the apple in the garbage and I walked straight to like mental health. And I'm like, please, somebody help me. This is not working out for me anymore. And I need help, right? And so I remember thinking, like, it got to a certain point where I just thought that I was not enough. And I saw those patterns later on. And it was really interesting to like catch them, because then you realize later on in life, like those patterns keep coming up over and over again, the patterns of feeling not enough with oneself. Or one's body or money or relationships or whatever it is, even being a mom, right? And then all of a sudden you just wake up, you're like, gosh, like how come this is so complicated? How come this is
Mm-hmm.
so hard? When in fact, like you said, when you surrender into it, it's like this, relief completely, and it feels really, really good. And that's when you can open yourself up to receiving more.
Yeah.
And that's why, I love how you said, oh, then you look 10 years younger. Absolutely, because you're not like worried, just like round all the time trying to
Always
figure stuff out.
trying to hold it
Yeah.
all together. Wow. I think that's a
Yeah. How
very
about you?
powerful story. Well, I
Thank
just
you.
want to honor what you just shared because for one thing, just sharing really vulnerably about, your experience. And also so much of what you were saying I could relate to, that like there's an actual, it is a disorder, body dysmorphia, where you believe you're much bigger than you are. It's something that happens in our
Yeah.
brains. And what's interesting is I experienced a very similar, path with that, just really always thinking that I was. And I think part of it was, like going to school, especially when you're in, grade school and you're surrounded by girls that are just tiny. They're like toothpicks,
Yeah.
like and for me,
Yeah.
like probably the same thing. That's what, we used to get called big boned, right? But it's like,
What
like
is up with that?
I know, but it really does mess with your head when you're, especially like just about to go through adolescence and, you're looking around and you just see like teeny tiny people, right? And you're feeling like you are, so much bigger than you are. So yeah, anyways, I just wanted
I
to
know.
honor you for sharing that. And as you're sharing it, it's just really touching my heart because right there with you, sister, like and I think it affects so many of us. And just that you did know to get help, right? Like I think that that's
Yeah.
a really important message, for anyone that's experiencing this, that this is something that does need support, right? Like so you've got the help,
Yeah.
and it yeah, it helps you release so much of that stress. So yeah.
But Chelsea, you know what? It's interesting that you bring that up, like that I knew to get help. I actually didn't know to get help. I just didn't know what else to do, right? So
Oh
the
wow.
same thing, I see the same thing happen in business, like with clients, with your clients, with my clients, even as an entrepreneur, where we will come to a point in our business or in our life where like we just cannot like continue this way. This
Yes.
is like the end of the rope. We need help now. How can we go out and figure this out without figuring it out on our own? Because obviously, the stuff we've been doing is not working.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we gain an outside perspective and find the right mentor that will allow us to like move forward with grace rather than all this struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it can
Yeah.
be so exhausting. You're right. So, well, I'm glad that you did what you
Mm-hmm.
did in that moment.
Yes.
It
Got to.
was the
Got to.
perfect thing
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. How
Um,
about you? Let's hear yours. Let's hear yours.
yeah. So mine is more to do with confidence
Hmm.
and being able to speak. So, but it also kind of bleeds into just the way that we are as we're growing up. So, in terms of our personality, the masks that we start to put on, at a young age. I have this very vivid memory of being in the seventh grade, and I remember as we were preparing for this debate, that we were going to be all doing in a class, and I was very shy. I've shared about that before, just really kind of introverted, and me being in a debate that was
Hmm.
something that you
Oh my
know, I was
gosh, as an
terrified
introvert.
of, was not looking forward to. And then at the same time, I remember preparing for the debate and just sort of being in a circle of my teammates as we were preparing and just observing them and watching how they acted and watching how, if one person acted a certain way, then they got more attention, or if one person acted in a certain way, it was met with, sort of like that teenage disapproval, right? And I
Hmm.
remember just sitting back and watching and thinking, who I am and the way that I am isn't, there's something wrong. Like it's not right. I'm not
Mm.
going to get, I'm not going to have friends. I'm not going to get what I need unless I act this very specific way. And so I remember in that moment making this conscious decision to just not be who I was, to just sort of put this mask on and to start being different, right? So that I could fit in, so that I could get approval. And then at the same time, we're working towards this debate, which was just, terrifying for me. And I have this very vivid memory of me saying the wrong thing. It was my
Mm.
turn to speak and just saying the wrong thing and hearing the hearing the groans of my teammates, and just like, again, it was this message that there's something not enough about me. And that carried on for a long time before I, did the healing work and everything like that. But all around the area of fitting in, I got to this point where I'd have pockets of friends, in different aspects of my life, whether it was through, I was in synchronized swimming. So like say on my swim team
Yeah.
or with girls that I went to school with and, different areas, maybe family friends. And because I had almost taken on this chameleon like um,
Hmm.
activity, so that I could feel like I fit in each of those different areas of my life, I wasn't enough. I wasn't even being myself in any of those areas of my life. And that, can you imagine how exhausting it was? And then there were times when, when like your worlds collide and you've got, two pockets of friends coming together. Maybe it was, a birthday event and I wanted all my friends with me.
Yeah.
And then that feeling of how am I going to be when I'm this way with this group of
Yeah.
friends and I'm this way with this group of friends and then they're all going to be together, then who am I? And it's like, I don't remember the exact moment when I realized that all of that is just, it's complete bullshit, right? Like I was just like, number one, killing myself, exhausting myself, just, really not allowing myself to just, be me and be enough and be okay with who I am. It eventually all got sorted out, but it was like the exhaustion of holding up that appearance, of holding up all of those masks just so that
Hmm.
I felt like I was going to be accepted by all of these other people in my life. And when I did finally realize that, number one, that's not any way to live a happy life, number one, and also just not a way to. I mean, for me, I think one of the most important things as I've grown in my life is, finding this set point where I feel calm, I feel peaceful, I feel happy and content with who I am. And that became my goal, no matter where I was or what I was doing, that became my goal. So everything else just didn't fit anymore. It had to fall away. And of course, that can be a bit of an uncomfortable growing experience, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden people related to me in one way and they're like, who is she? Who is this now? And I'm different. So of course that, changed some friendships. It, some things evolved naturally as a process of that. But now I can just be enough, and I can be with anyone really, and just be the exact person that I am, right? I think it's a part
Hmm.
of growing up as well. I'm sure a lot of us went through that through our teenage years, just kind of trying things on. Maybe it's a rite of passage that we all go through, but it's really exhausting. So yeah, I think that probably added 10 years to my life just by,
Yeah.
dropping those masks and really dropping that pretense that, I'm going to change who I am for another person.
Mm.
No
It's
more.
so exhausting. It's so
Yeah.
exhausting being a chameleon,
Hmm.
um, just because you're trying to make everybody happy
Hmm.
except
It's
for
interesting
yourself.
that, now that I think about it, that came up in relationships as well a lot.
Hmm.
When you're younger and you're dating and you're dating a guy and he likes this, or you know what I mean, like just shifting yourself so that it sort
Yeah.
of fits. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that I mean, it's amazing how when you're dating and you try to like, shift yourself for the person,
Mm.
then you end up attracting like people that don't really love you for who you are.
Well, and they may not even get the chance to know you for who you are,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
have that opportunity even. But yeah, you're right. It can also often set the stage for some unhappy experiences as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
As
And how can they even get to know who you are when you don't even know who you are?
Mhm.
You've just been like, trying to please others and be enough for them when in fact it's just never enough. You can
Mhm.
never be enough. I think what's important is that you just be enough for yourself. And
Yeah.
again, like you said, surrender to all that is.
So what are like if we were going to kind of chat about this a little bit, because I think sometimes when we're in that experience,
Hmm.
we don't know. It's like a blind spot.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you can think of? And I'm going to think of them too. I know we're kind of putting ourselves on the spot, but um, sort of like signs or symptoms of that we may not be, or we may be trying to keep up appearances, or we may be putting that pressure on ourselves that we're not enough. you know, like what are things that a person might be feeling? Can you think of
Yeah,
any,
it's a great question.
you know,
That's a
just,
great question. I like, okay, so signs or symptoms?
well, just anything like, you know, like
Hmm.
I'm just trying to think back to what that was like. I know for me, like I had this constant like stress in my stomach, like this
Hmm.
anxiety of like,
Yeah,
okay, what if this or what if that? Like I was always trying to anticipate
yeah,
the moment so that I could shift, right? So I think that's one is, I mean, any form of stress, if you're feeling like, you know, you're worried about certain situations or even feeling like that need to control the situation.
hmm, yeah,
You know, you shared that really beautiful message about, you know, focusing on what you can control or, you know, and what you can't before our
yeah,
call, you know, like I think that, um, a lot of that surrendering too is also just realizing like we can't control what's going on in our external environment. We can't control what people think of us. And, you know,
hmm,
really in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter what people really think of us. It matters more what we think of ourselves. So I
yeah,
think that that's another
yeah.
big one. It's just worrying about what people think. You know, that's one, another one that I think really holds people back.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, worrying about what other people think. Also, like I like listening to, the universe's whispers or life's whispers, where um, you know that you're not in the right relationship, or you know that you're not in the right career, but you keep on going because that's what you learned, and that's how, like, being a chameleon, that's how it brought you to where you are. And I think, like you said, like sometimes we don't even know. And so when you start getting these like nudges, this feeling in like the pit of your stomach or in your gut where um, it's just not like something is not right,
Mm-hmm.
then it's really important to listen to those things. I mean, like, for those of you watching, like Chelsea and I look like we have it all together, right? It has taken years to like get to this point, and there's always growing and learning like every single day, right? Except that
Mm-hmm.
we accept it more than we did in the past. And um, there's we've done some tremendous healing. We've hired so many people on our team to, like, help us lift ourselves up and empower us, give us tools to empower us and to heal things that happened. So I'm just like thinking about like what that felt like. I remember it feeling exhausting. It felt like I was always trying to control the situations. It's all I knew how to do was really control the situation based on, like, how nice I was with somebody, or how pretty and how like sweet, and like how I made them feel. And that was annoying for me. I would go to bed at night being like, okay, none of that worked, or okay, it worked like to a T, but now how do I feel about myself?
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't even aware of this stuff until one day I just like, again, surrendered. I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to just be my authentic self. I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah.
I just knew I was open to it. I'm like, hey, show me how to be my authentic self. How can I stop lying to myself, because this is not who I really am.
Yeah. Well, you just brought up something that I think is a huge one for women is that, you know, being the good girl, you know, like that
Hmm.
that's really, you know, I almost like what's expected or what's accepted, and
Yeah.
anything outside of that is wrong. And I think that that's the thing. I mean, we all have our our dark sides, you know, we all have our sides that don't fit that mold of, you know,
Yeah.
like what the good girl is supposed to be like, because I think that the good girl is like, you know, number one that doesn't really say much, right? That keeps quiet, that
Hmm.
just goes with the flow and accepts what's happening. And I think that, you know, just again being enough and being, you know, being who we are, and also being our full complex vibrant selves, right, that don't
Hmm.
necessarily have to fit into a mold or fit into a box, you know, and just really like letting it out there, you know, letting it be, and letting you know,
Yeah.
our full
Yeah.
range of personality show, you know, even if it may not necessarily be what, you know, is acceptable or what's considered acceptable, especially in society, or, you know, I mean, as things are progressing so quickly,
Yeah.
thank goodness, you know, you think back to the way, things were like even 10, 20 years ago, and what was okay,
Oh gosh.
what was not. I mean, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not there.
Things are
I'm glad we're here.
things are getting better all the time. But yeah, like I
Yeah.
think that's another big one, right? It's just like of really letting go of any attachment to any shoulds, right? Like that we should look a
Hmm.
certain way, that we should speak a certain way. Anything that doesn't feel completely in line with, your own happiness. If you feel
Mm.
like you have to, put yourself in a box for someone else, for another person, for your job, for society, it's just not conducive to health. It's not conducive to your happiness, and it's exhausting. It's going to just drain the life out of you. So
Hmm.
yeah, we're
Hmm.
here to we're here
Yeah.
to encourage and to hopefully illuminate this, just this area of our lives that, I think doesn't really get talked about a lot. So we're bringing it up.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were talking, I was thinking about, everyone else's ideals but your own, right? So
Mm-hmm.
being very, very clear on what your core values and beliefs are based on who you are as a person, not necessarily how you were brought up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not in this way where I have to be a certain way, like you said, the shoulds, like to get rid of the shoulds, could be or have to, that kind of thing. Because if you're going to live like that, you're going to be miserable. And in all roles, really, everywhere in your life, if you're just going to be like, well, I should be like this because somebody told me, or because that's how society is, or it's just like that, I would like, beg to question those beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
and like, are they actually yours?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like, are you living up to those expectations? It is very, very challenging to live up to those expectations. And
Well,
again, like you said, exhausting, bad for your health.
yeah, definitely, definitely. and
Mm-hmm.
and I think we all want to look younger and feel younger. And this is, like, don't worry about Botox or anything like that. You can do it by just working on all of this inner stuff, right? Like it's yeah, and it's instant and it's free. Um, yeah, we were talking before our call about the need for validation, and
Mm-hmm.
the need for validation and approval from other people, and how sometimes we can, even, I mean, as an adult, catch ourselves, really, like, if there's something we really want to do, or if there's something that, is really exciting or important to us. And like, I know for me, I had this experience this week, catching it with my own family, something that I'm
Mm.
really excited about, and they might not necessarily even understand or get really in the moment. And so that was a big one for me, just really realizing that I'm happy. I don't need this validation. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to just continue doing what I'm doing, and not, like, let go of that attachment to really having approval from anyone other than myself. So yeah,
Yeah.
good one. It's always, like, that's the thing, like Leah mentioned earlier, this is an ongoing thing. I think we're going to be, figuring this stuff out about ourselves, when we're 100 until the day we die. So
I wonder if there comes a point when we don't have to do that anymore. I don't know, but I think at 100 we could like chill out when we
yeah,
get there. That would be awesome.
yeah.
But no, you're right. It's like a constant evolution of self.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I think back to, who I was a year from today, or like, a year back, I mean, um, yeah, that it's just, I can see where I was at in my evolution. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool to be able to look back and say, okay, I was there and now I'm here. I still have, more ways to go, and it's all good. And
Yeah.
just accepting that that is enough,
Mm-hmm.
because it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, yeah.
So I would love, so thank you to everyone that's watching live
Yeah,
and in the
there's
future. If I don't know if you can see any comments, I actually can't see
I'm gonna
any.
go through. I just want to say hi, because I'm not sure who's watching now, but we've had so many beautiful people pop in. So Nicole, Valerie, hi you guys, Irma, Anika, James, Dule, Nicole, Amy, Aurelia, and Chele. I hope I pronounced your name properly. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
who's
have.
watching now, but thank you so much to everyone for
Yeah.
being here and for just being in this space with us. Hi, Shelly. And so we'd love to hear from you guys as well, you know, what this topic is bringing up, or even just, you know, say hi if you're here. We'd love to hear any input that you have, or any, you know, if you're comfortable sharing your experience as
Mhm.
well about being enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for some comments on live right now, I'd love for us to mention the master class that's coming up
Mm-hmm.
that we're offering for free as a gift, as our holiday gift to all of our viewers. And really, what it is allowing yourself to be enough over the holidays, to live that deliciously stress-free holiday season where you're giving yourself tons of self-love, and in the meantime you're loving everyone around you, but just giving yourself that space and that enoughness to be able to thrive during the holidays. So we'll be giving during the masterclass, which is on December 19th. So if you want more information, we're going to be giving you that. Just comment below and let us know that you want it, or you can send us a private message to either one of us. And it will be in a private group on like webinar format Zoom. And what we're going to be doing is really giving you tips on how to manage your mind, your body, your soul during the holidays so that you can crush 2019,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole point of it, it's not just for the holidays. It's kind of has more of a long-term,
Yeah.
looking ahead approach, really, because, you know, just getting through the holidays and feeling energized and feeling, you know, just like you're really ready and you're filled up as well. So
Yeah.
I think that the holidays, that's really one of the best things about it, is that it's, you know, an opportunity to be with the people you love, and we want to help you get through it without being exhausted or drained, which can so
Yes.
often happen. So
It'll be
that's
fun.
our
So
gift and
fun.
our
So it's a
goal.
free gift to you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll be sharing more and more details about that. I know you're right, December 19th in the evening, and we will be sharing, posting an event with all of the details of how to get in on the
Hmm.
call. It's not going to be here. Yeah, it'll be on Zoom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to mention, if any of you that are watching, now or in the future, are having these kinds of issues and questioning and just don't know how to surrender to what you're struggling with. Chelsea and I do very deep work around this, and we would love to have a conversation with you about it. We'll be posting our own personal links below, so you can always book a complimentary call with us to
Mm-hmm.
have a look at how we can help you just be, more of your authentic self and thrive in everything that you are as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Leah.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think we're just about ready to sign off. We just got a comment from Preston saying hi.
Hey.
Two awesome ladies. Well, thank you very much. All right. So, anyways, on that note, are you ready to? We're ready to go, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think we've got
Sounds
any other.
good. So check out the links below and so funny. Check out the links below. And it was so awesome chatting with you as always, Chelsea. And thank you to everyone who's watching, everyone who's watching later. We love you and we honor you in
Yes.
all of who you are.
Lots of love. Thank you, Leah.
Okay,
Talk to you
bye.
later. Bye.